It's probably late as hell where some of y'all are. I can only imagine. So I haven't did a live just like chopping it up, shooting the breeze. So I just felt like pulled to come on here. So I'm just chilling. I took a nap. Oh my god. Your girl was in so much pain earlier. So I had got my teeth pulled yesterday morning. So I've been up. I got up at 2 a.m. this morning and I headed out around probably 4 in the morning. Um, didn't leave until 8 something, probably like, I want to estimate probably like, let's say close to 8:30 in the morning. And then I got home and just kind of like, got myself together. So I didn't know that this pain was going to be intense like after. So I had to take some pain medicine, of course, and I slept most of the day, but I'm feeling better. So I feel a lot better. But yeah, so I just wanted to come on here and shoot the breeze with y'all. I hope everybody's doing okay and is fine and well. The holidays. It's kind of a tough time. For some, just energetic wise. So, you know. Hey, baby Pico. Hey, sis. Hey, Celestial. How are you? How are you doing? But yeah. So I'm just on here, just chilling. So I don't really. I mean, I know like sometimes I'll be just. It's always this way where I come on and I'll think that it's just gonna be a flow. We're just gonna be chilling, and next thing you know, Spirit gonna be like using me to like speak. I'm okay. Like I mean, I'm not bad. I can't complain about anything. I'm just like it's the pain is subsided a lot, but I still feel a little bit of pain from getting my tooth pulled today. But I'm okay. So I hope everybody's good. Like, what's been going on in y'all worlds this Friday evening? I'm not doing nothing. Like I told myself, like I love chilling and being at home when I can, but even more so because it's the holidays and I've been working overtime, and on top of that, I work 12-hour shifts. So imagine overtime on top of that already. So I'm just at home chilling. I'm enjoying this. Yeah, watching YouTube. So the AC just came on. So let me know if you guys can hear me because I don't have my headphones on, which I probably should. Let me put them on real quick. Even then, it's probably still gonna pick up the AC noise. The microphone that gives me the hardest time is the one that blocks out the noise in the back. Okay. You guys can hear me. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm just like I ain't doing shit. And then it sucks because there's this brunch spot that I wanted to go to. It's a black owned wine and bar. Um it's it's called something chic. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm like, I want to go support sis. Just see what it's about. And their brunch looks really good. And they had like this event on Sunday that I wanted to go to, and I'm like, fuck, I can't do that because my fucking tooth, and I can't drink. So it kind of sucks because I wanted to try some of them little specialty drinks that they got, and I cannot. So that sucks. So I'm gonna have to reschedule that. Health comes first. So, but I need to rest anyway. Like, yeah, I need to rest. And then I'm just going to probably tomorrow have the girls are all going to get together and put our Christmas tree up, decorate it, do something to the front door as we always do. Yeah, I can always, yeah, because reservations are suggested because I guess, they're quite popular or whatever. So I'm like, Fuck, I gotta cancel my fucking reservation. I can't go. Because I was just supposed to go. It was me, my aunt, and my cousin. We were gonna go. And then I was just like, no, bitch, that's out the plans. But, yep, I'm doing well. I'm sorry, baby Pico. That's good. You working on some art? So I need to do that, but I just haven't been in the space to create anything. Like, I don't know when's the last time I made any jewelry. Like, it's felt like probably months, maybe a couple of months, not too long, but it's been a minute. And then, like, as far as content creation goes, I don't refer to myself as that, but if you're creating something, then I guess you're a content creator. But yeah, it's been a minute. It feels like a long century since I've actually created any pieces. Like, it just hasn't been. Oh wow, she got work done too. That's funny. Yeah, because when you go to brunches, you want to have like a drink, right? You want like a little cocktail or something, or a mimosa, something. But no, like I can't. So I'm just kind of disappointed. I'm like, wah, wah, wah. And then certain foods I can't eat either. So that's like kind of forcing me to fast a little bit because I have to eat soft foods. I have to eat cold food. And I know some people don't abide by the rules all the time. If you feel better, you'll just like do whatever. But I have stitches too, so I can't do that. So I can't do that shit. But so yes, I'm gonna utilize this weekend to just like relax because I just don't like. I feel I've been on go for the last few months, like doing this holiday shit. These schedules, these hours is like it takes a lot out of you. Like 12 hours, multiple like shifts of 12 hours, and then on top of that, like OT on top of like what you already work. It's like a lot. So I feel like I spend most of my time at work, and when I do have the free time, I just want to like chill. I just want to rest. Y'all can understand my plight, I'm sure. It must be something in the air. Hey, oh yeah, Storm, how are you? It must be something because, like, child, like, I don't know what it is, but I'm okay with it. Like, I gotta do what I gotta do. That was like the worst pain ever because I've had, dentist experiences and stuff, and I usually can take, a little pressure and stuff like that and a little bit of pain. But this shit was on another level. She had to keep injecting me multiple times. It was bad. It was bad. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. Like, I've never in my life cried at the dentist, but I cried. I was about to punch that bitch. I'm like, sorry, dentist, I know you're just doing your job, but I'm about to punch your ass. Like, you're doing too much. But she didn't know that I was still feeling the pains. I had to tell her, like, I don't think this is pressure. Like, I feel like you're trying to kill me. So she had to keep injecting me until I was numb enough. It was a bitch. It was a bitch. But anyway, like, and it's so funny because, like, even though, because I feel like a lot of it has been too, goodness. Yeah, I mean, if we want to get spiritual, people will say, like the mouth and all of that, that's the gateway, like, of speaking things into existence. That's the portal of communication, right? So when that's something is up with it's like, you need a little fine tuning, whether that's through your teeth, whether that's through like your throat, phlegm, and sore throat and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you want to take it that way, but otherwise, it's just like sometimes just poor health, not taking care of your teeth, or if it's um, sickness and all of that, you know. Yeah, you might want to get that get that checked because there's nothing like I say this like I've had labor pains before, and that's painful as fuck. Like, don't get me wrong, like that is a pain that's like it's kind of like a but nothing really to me, nothing beats a fucking toothache. Like I'll tell you, like I could probably get through labor pains over a toothache. Like I don't know, cause I can tolerate pain. Like I can, but that type of shit, no, I cannot. Saturn also rules the teeth. Wow. Yeah. So I guess like to give like a spiritual update. Um. So I notice like around Scorpio season is a time that I go through a lot of intense shifts and changes. And I feel like maybe just collectively we might all go through that. But like for me, I noticed, especially like during that time, Scorpio season, specifically like October. The month of October is an intense time for me when it comes to shifts and healing. So it wasn't like, I have to be honest. I'm gonna be transparent. So in the past, like going through uh, around the time of like Scorpio energy and season, I would be very heavily suicidal around that time, or have like suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. And that was just a battle within itself. That was something completely. I can't go too far into that, but it was like a weird time, and so I just ever since then I would notice like around Scorpio season I would be going through a lot of heavy energy and shifting and releasing, and going through spiritual death within myself. It's been a lot of empowering energy, I want to say, and I'm no stranger to doing shadow work in a way of like, fuck it, let's do it. Like, sometimes it's like, why the fuck is this happening to me? What is going on? Like, what is this? But and maybe it's because, I don't know, Taurus, opposite sign, because I'm a Taurus, like, through and through, like, a lot of Taurus energy in my chart, in my big threes, too. So, our opposite sign is Scorpio. So I guess like that would be an aspect of self. The shadow aspect would be Scorpio. And so like when it comes to going deep into self, like I don't mind doing that. It just like I have to gear myself up for it. But I'm not, I'm not against it. So, and around that time that I was having those suicidal thoughts, I had lost a family member to suicide at that time. So it was like fucking with me. And then I was being attacked a lot in 2020. Like around 2020, 2021, I was being spiritually attacked a lot. So that whole like, I don't want to be here. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm ready to go. I can't do this no more. Like, what's the point? Like, I started dealing with that a lot. So fast forward to this Scorpio season, I felt like me being at work in an environment around people where I'm not just working from home and doing spiritual work. I'm actually like, just doing regular labor work, right? And I love my job. Like, I love the fact, like, because I come from like retail and customer service, call center shit, and I hate customer service. Like call center, I hate that. That's like something that I just, no, I can't do it no more. Like, please, Lord, don't. So this is more like hands-on, more labor, more like warehouse fact. Like, I like it. I like that part. So I guess that goes hand in hand with, so it kind of balanced out being overly like too stimulated in the spiritual and and all of that. So I have that balance of like, I still do my spiritual work, of course, and but I still have that other, thing that I do. So it's balanced. And even with that, like, I feel like my intuition and my spiritual experiences actually got stronger. Like, I'm noticing a lot of, like, I'm getting downloads like crazy. It's so weird. Um, just my experiences in the everyday and like the way the spirit will speak. Because I'm thinking, like, okay, I'm kind of getting away from it. I'm kind of grounding my energy. And yeah, call centers are a bitch. I can't do it. I can't. It's like that's torture to a person. A person that has, if I would say this, if I had to go back, I feel like I'll be able to handle the energy more, because back then I didn't understand, like, my sensitivity to energies and people, and allowing it to affect me. Now I feel like I'm able to kind of manage it a little bit better and not take, what they're, projecting personally, because they're upset. Most of the time when you're dealing with customer service, you're dealing with people that are upset, frustrated, concerned, right? So it's just your energy management and not being affected by someone else's energy, I feel like. But that's a lot. That's a lot on you, energetically. It's a lot. Call center work. But yeah, just working, just getting back into, like, 3D groove of things, but in a balance, of course, not being completely all up in it. There's a, I feel like spirit just is kind of like 10 times stronger. Like, all of the messages and it, like, crazy shit. I'm like, spirit, really? Like, what the fuck? Like, you gonna get your message through however and whenever. Like, you're going to do it somehow. So, but I appreciate it. But yeah, Scorpio season was a little interesting. I don't want to say like it was bad, because it was a lot of empowering energy. And my shout out to my good friend Kenya. Her and her husband, they have a candle business called the Tapestry Loom, and one of her candles she had was the Kali Ma candle, and Kali is one of my favorite goddesses, and she's one of those goddesses that people demonize a lot, and I understand, because, like, she looks scary, and if you don't understand certain things, it's like you could easily find something negative in it and demonic and all this shit. But she's a goddess that really will, like, have you deal with your shadow self. So I knew, partially, like, just because of doing spiritual work with certain goddesses and deities and things like that, I knew Kali, what she's about. But that candle, though, I was not expecting it to do what it did. And the fact that the candle was actually like, it's kind of small, like, those let's say, like, those, like, tin lotions, kind of like, it's a little thicker than that, but like a tin lotion where you have to take the top off, and it's like a tin little compact, whatever. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a small, like, kind of candle, like a small candle size. It's not big at all. It's not like those Airwick, sizes, or those candles that you would get from, like, Bath and Body Works or something. It was like kind of short. So the candle burned, I think I started burning it Saturday night, and I think it was a full moon that night when I burned it. And then the next day, it burnt all the way through. So it was only like a day and a half burn. But the effects of that candle, I felt that shit like days after. Not even days after, like maybe a couple of days after. I had a situation with a family member that I've been having issues with since I was a child. Like, kind of never standing up to myself with this person, allowing them to kind of bully and manipulate me into, falling in line, if you will, with them. And it really tested me in that. Um, and another family member tried it, and I had to, like, put the boundaries up with that. It was a lot of different effects that candle had, and I feel like it was still ongoing, where I had to be okay with kind of standing firm and not allowing shit to move me where it really shouldn't. You know what I mean? Just not to get too much into it. So that candle did what it was supposed to do. And amongst other things, like Scorpio season, like I said, it's one of those things that I'm always aware, like I'm going to grow through some type of shift. It may not be fun, but it's necessary. You know what I mean? It is so necessary. Yeah, it's not easy. Like with dealing with family, like generational, I don't know, you want to call it trauma. I don't want to give it too much credit, but just the fact, how do I say this without getting too personal? And this is another thing that I'm learning to love about myself, because I always felt like this was a weakness, and people will say that it's a weakness to be transparent in a way where you're sharing things where people are like, you're sharing too much, you're giving too much away about yourself. And I'm like, being vulnerable and being transparent and honest in the way that I do and other like people would do, yeah, that's something to you that might be a weakness because you're trying to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to protect yourself in a manner that where you don't have to feel exposed or feel vulnerable. And that to me is a weakness. To be able to be transparent and straight up, that's a superpower. That's a superpower to me. And a bravery, something brave to be able to be transparent and be vulnerable in a way like that takes heavy courage. It takes balls to do that shit. So when I share certain things, like obviously for just personal, not everything is meant to be shared, but if I feel like it's something that is going to be helpful to someone, be transformative to someone, like as a testimony, I'll share it. And even though people like, people that, and this is something that I just don't get about people that will watch you and like keep up with everything you do, but they don't fucking like you. Like that's the weirdest shit to me. Like just it's fucking weird energy, weirdo shit. Because they like people like that, like they try to keep up with you to see like, oh, are you doing well, are you not doing well, and what they perceive to be like you're falling off or you're failing, they don't even know that the whole time like it's a bigger purpose beyond it. It's a testimony. It's something that's strengthening you. It's something that's maturing you. It's elevating you. But they're thinking like, oh, this bitch is falling. Oh, this bitch, like, nah. So, like, sometimes I don't want to share certain things because the enemy likes to take glory for things that have nothing to do with them. They're, you know what I mean? Like, or just haters, just like stupid people. But that's cool. Like, monitoring spirits, they gonna come because if I wasn't nothing, if I wasn't a nobody, like if you got people like watching you and monitoring you that don't like you, that don't fuck with you, they don't have good intentions for you, and they're keeping up with you, obviously you're some type of threat. Like they gotta see like, oh, I want to see if this person's doing good or they're not. Like, bitch, why do you care? You know what I mean? Like, why do you give a fuck? Because you lame as fuck. But anyway, um yeah, so that's where my energy's been at. It's been in a weird space, I should say, as far as like the shifts and even the download. So I guess this is something, I don't know, maybe this is something for the collective. If you guys are, if you're trying to seek answers, because this is what I know, and my aunt said this to me because my aunt she's a seer as well. She's not really, like, she owns decks, but she's not into it like I am. She's not, like, heavily into the spirit stuff, but she has spiritual gifts. Like, she comes from the church too, by the way. So she comes from the church. She has prophetic abilities. She has the ability to cast out spirits out of people too. She worked in that realm, the realm of deliverance and exorcism, if that's what you want to call it. So she has a little bit of gifts, and she came to me recently about a dream that she had, and I was just telling her what I was picking up and what I was getting, like just based off of the symbolism of what she was telling me she was in the dream. So she was like, yeah, I'll sit with that, but I want to get a reading. So I gave her a reading, And it was the same similar message that I was just getting when I was telling her what I was picking up for her when she was describing the dream. So she was like, it's still like a little choppy. I'm not really getting all the clarity that I need. And I feel like when God does that to me, that's because it's something that I'm supposed to get directly from him. She calls God him. So I'm just paraphrasing and repeating basically. So she was like, what I should be getting from him. And she says it all the time. She said, you already know the answer to things you seek. Like sometimes when you have prophetic gifts, or you want to call it psychic gifts, or you want to call it a seer, you're going to naturally, you're human, you're going to want to get clarity about things that you're seeking or things that you are experiencing, and a lot of times we already know the answer. And what I've always run into is like, yes, sometimes like I can go to spiritual people, other gifted people, and get clarity from them, and a lot of times it's just confirmation, or they might give you a little bit of a deeper understanding of what you already felt or what you already know. But what I run into is like sometimes they are not able to give it to me. Like they can't, like, I noticed this too about I noticed this too. Like I used to think that this was something wrong. Like something's wrong with me. Why doesn't anyone ever prophesy to me? Like why doesn't anybody ever come to me and be like, this is gonna happen to you and that's gonna, like, why doesn't that happen for me? It's like, but I have to understand, like, to strengthen my gift, I have to have that connection with God's source in a way that I get the scoop first. And that when someone speaks life into me, I'll be able to discern, is that really someone speaking life into me? Is that coming from an authentic, true place? Is it a false prophecy? So if you're kind of running into, like, you're trying to get clarity, you're trying to get guidance, and let's say you're watching like YouTube readings, and that um, I've learned that with doing that, like watching general reading, sometimes it really has to be a divine moment in time where you come across something you're supposed to hear. I don't believe we're constantly supposed to be plugging into messages every day, or watching this reader and watching that reader, because every reading that, let's say a reader that posts every day, let's say, like, it's not necessarily good or bad. Like some cases it's like, I gotta push out content, I gotta push out content. In some cases it's genuinely because that person is being led to push out a message, but it's not always gonna resonate with you. Sometimes certain particular messages are meant for certain people at that time, you know what I mean? So that's why some people resonate with some messages, or some readers, or some prophetic voices, where they don't resonate with some, or for a time they may no longer resonate. It's because of where you are spiritually, energetically, and what you need. So if you're like overstimulating yourself, like trying to get it, and if you're not getting clarity from any of these sources, it's most likely because source, it wants to give it to you personally, and it may not even be time for that that clarity to come. There's a purpose and reason and season. And I know that sounds like, to some people that don't, and I don't want to say that like that because that sounds kind of harsh. Let's say when you're at a certain level within your spirituality, or your spiritual path, or your spiritual gifts, where you're still needing the maturity level to understand that we're not supposed to get everything. Like, just because I ask doesn't mean that I just, it's kind of like that entitlement that we could have as humans, to be like, well, because I want to know, I should get the answer. Or because, you know, the universe is the law of attraction, I should be able to attract whatever I want. And it's like, you're trying to get clarity. There's a season and reason as to why maybe you're not getting the things that you're asking for, what you wanted. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a no, or that something is wrong. It's just not the time. So like certain experiences, like you got to go through certain experiences in life, and then you'll have those aha moments, like, oh, now I get it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like there's no strengthening, there's no growth in your spiritual self if you're just getting fed just whenever you ask and whatever you want. Where's the maturity? Where's the growth? Where's the understanding? Where's the wisdom going to come from if you just get it all at once? If everything was just to come to you all at once. And I don't even believe like a human can even, if we ask, like, let's put it this way. Think about it this way. If we were to ask spirit, let's say, like, write a list of 5 things that we want to know the answer to, or we want to know what's going to happen in the future. Like, am I going to get this job? Am I going to be married? Is this the person for me? Am I going to be financially wealthy, or whatever you want to ask? Or if you're having these 5 points of what you want to ask spirit and you want to know what's going to happen, your human mind is not going to be able to take all of that. If spirit was like, okay, boom, when it comes to this job, you're going to go to the interview, they're going to tell you no, but then you might get mad, you might get sad, you might be depressed for a little bit, but then something's just going to pop up for you and you're going to be happy, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, I'll be good with that. And then the next thing is like, but that job is only going to be here for 5 years. And then next thing, you're going to be bored with it and you're going to want something that's more in alignment with where you are. You're going to feel outgrown with that. Would you want to really know all that shit? Or this person is not for you. They're going to break your heart. They're probably going to have another person on the side. You're going to find out about it. You're going to be upset. You're going to be mad. You're going to be depressed for a little bit. But you're going to have a season where you're going to be single for a month or 2 months or 1 year, 2 years. And then you're going to meet this other man or woman, but that's not the person. They're just more so helping you become more open, more, receptible to love and being courted, or helping you learn how to court someone. But then after that, 5 years later, you're going to meet the one. And this person is going to be like this. You could be like, fuck, for real, I got to go through that. Would you, honestly, y'all, would you really want to know your future? Sometimes spirit gives it to us in a soft way, where spirit says, yeah, you're going to get that job. But then when you go through that process, like, God, why would you say I was going to get this job and this happened? And like, why? You know what I mean? Like, some things we just ain't supposed to know. And we can get mad at our spiritual team, whether our ancestors, whether it's God, our angels, our spirit, whatever the fuck. Would you really want to know all of that? Be honest with yourself. If spirit was to tell you half of the things that you swear up and down, if I just knew the answer, and I do this to myself too, like, I feel like I would just be more at peace if spirit would just tell me this and tell me that. If spirit gave that all to you all at once, you would probably be fucking depressed, anxious, or be like, okay, what can I do to shift it? What can I do? Okay, God said that this man or this woman is going to come to my life, but they're not it. They're going to cheat on me. So what can I do to prevent talking to anybody? And it's like you're slowing your experience down, because who's to say that you're not, obviously you're supposed to experience whatever it is that's going to take you to that thing that you're praying about, or that you're seeking clarity, right? You have to go through the experience to get to that point. So to say like, oh, if I knew the answer, then I'll be content. But nah, probably not. Or it could be a good prophecy in a sense where you don't have to go through it. It's like, yeah, you're going to get married September of 2025. And it's like, ooh, okay, I'm going to get married. So then you're trying to be like, okay, is it him? Or is it her? What can I do? Blah, blah. Like, no. Not everybody's going to be content with even the good thing. Like, if it was no pressure, spirit didn't give you all the ins and the outs of what was to come fully to get to that end, you still would be tripping, most likely. So if you're not finding the answers to things, it's because you don't really need to know. You don't really need to know all of that. And easier said than done, because it got to a point where I feel like I started to become dependent on needing to know how everything was going to unfold. And when you're trying to strengthen your spiritual muscle, you can't do that. You can't operate like that. You can't. It's not going to benefit you to live like that. So, like, right before I came on here, Spirit was like, you're not going to get the answers to the things you seek right now, is because it's not outside of you, right? Like, it's not going to, because I'll hear things and I'll, get clarity, and I'll be like, that doesn't sound right. Something just is not right. And I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying, Spirit. Either I don't need to know this at all, or I don't need to know right now, or I need to go within myself about it and allow you to reveal it to me. Just personally between me and you. Just let shit ride out. And another thing too, like, Spirit kind of got on me about this as well. Like, as far as when it comes to readings, I don't mind doing how do they feel reads and like love readings and stuff like that, that pertains to where another person is with you and all that. But sometimes, because I'm very like careful with this, where I ask Spirit to give me the permission to even tap into the person's energy, as far as like what God will allow me to see. Because of course, like, you're on the opposite end of a connection or a situation, you have a right to know like where someone is at with you, what's their intentions, what Spirit wants to reveal you about that person, what's, their intentions, what's in the truth of that person in their heart when it concerns to you. You have a right to know that. um but sometimes I feel like we're trying to tap into energies that is not even open. Like, some people's energies are not even open for you to give you that. And some of it is Spirit is like, you don't need to know all of that. That's not something that is important right now. Although you may want to know, it's a want. It's not necessarily a need right now. Um, so like sometimes like that. Another thing too, this is what I'm learning. If you have connections with people um already, like, let's say a family member, you want to know where your family member is at with you. Obviously, you can talk to them. In some cases, you can't talk to them. Whether it's like some issues, or you don't feel comfortable with, you know, being, that transparent with them about what's concerning you, or what, if it's an awkward situation between you and a family member, or a lover, or a love interest. Um, but a lot of times, all you got to do is ask people for permission spiritually. Like, what is your intentions with me? And it will come. You don't have to pull no cards. You don't got to go to no readers. None of that. Just spiritually ask, and it will be revealed to you. Trust. Trust me, it will be revealed to you. But yeah, some things is just like we don't really need to know. You know what I mean? Um, Not at the time, or not in the form that we would like to. Like a tarot reading, like, it's not always necessary to get your clarity, or your truth, or your guidances from a tarot reading or another person. Sometimes it's just life experiences, or something around you, or a dream, or something someone tells you or says, or something you just come across that will be that clarity that you're actually seeking, if that makes sense. Or if it pertains to like people outside of you, if you pray for God to reveal certain things to you, or your divine source team that you trust, that has your best intentions, it is going to be revealed to you. You don't need a reading to do that. And I told y'all like a few times, like, I've tested telepathy. Me and a friend, we tested this together. Like, that shit is real. Like, it works. So if you're connected to people, um, that is going to be, like I said, like, all you got to do is like, what's your intentions with me? So whether it comes in the form of like that person showing you, which 9 times out of 10, that's how it's going to come. Um, or something, will just come out and reveal itself to you. You don't need cards to do that. The cards is just like a means to have a cushion to be like, okay, I see it. And even then, like, sometimes people still don't believe it, like, when they see it. So, you know what I mean? Like, that goes back to that whole thing. Like, do you really need to know? Or do you just want to know? And it's nothing wrong with that, per se. Like, it's not anything really wrong. It's just, again, that spiritual understanding that I don't need to have the answers to everything, or I might not need to know this right now, or, the avenue that I'm going to seek it may not be the right avenue, or the source that I'm seeking it may not be right, or it just isn't necessary. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're human. Like for real. Like I get it. Like I told y'all this. I say this all the time. Like I think about this meme. It's it looks like a little Jesus statue thing, like a little, little porcelain Jesus statues, and his eyes are like really big, like he's bugging out. And it says, um, when you ask God for help, and then he asks, what sign are you? And you say Taurus, and his face was like, oh shit, like, oh God, Lord help us. Because, like, Taurus energy, like, I'm telling you, somebody could, and I just seen this meme today too. I gotta find it. It's funny. But it was a couple getting married, and it was like when he says I do, till death do us part, and then the woman was like, but do you really mean that though, or something. I'm telling you, like, it's bad. It's bad. Cause somebody could be like, I like you, I'm feeling you, and I'll be like, I think you lying. Like, that's not cool. That's never cool. Like, that's not good at all. I'm about to find it. This shit is funny. Oh my gosh, it's really bad. Like, I say this, I'll be like, I can't, but it's true though. I have a hard time reading when somebody really is interested. Like, I have a feeling, like, oh, I think he feeling me. I think he likes me. And then I'll be like, nah, I think they're just being nice. I think they're being kind. So it's like, you got to come out and tell me that you like me or that you feeling me or whatever, right? You got to give me the spill. And even if then it'd be like, but I don't believe you though. Like, that's not good. That's not good at all. But I do that sometimes. So, like, I get it. As a human, you want confirmation to things. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I feel like we'll get it in a way that we're supposed to get it. And we can get frustrated if it doesn't come in the form that we want it to, or, you know what I mean? And I've been there. I've been there before. I'm gonna post it on the community post that that meme that I saw today. Hold on, I'm about to post it. It's funny. Like, this is not cool, but it's a little accurate. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Uh I can be at my wedding and still won't trust a ninja. That's crazy. Like, that's a whole nother topic. I feel like there's so many layers to that. Um, she's a Taurus too. I don't know what that is because I can only speak for myself. Like, I don't know how that would. I mean, I guess as a Taurus person, being like Earth and being very practical and like I gotta see it to believe it. I guess that aspect, but as a person with your own personal experience, for me, like, I've experienced some like terrible rejection. Not just like people like fucking with you, like pretending that they're into you and they like you, and then when they get what they want out of you or whatever the case may be, or just doing shit just to get back at somebody. Like, I've had some fucking fucked up situations with guys before, like some crazy shit, and just was like, I can't trust none of y'all ninjas because you could just be like fucking with me, or just like some weird shit that you on, or like you and another dude is on some weird shit. Like, I've been there with that. So it's like, what the fuck do you want? Like, what are you up to? And even more so, like, when you have an understanding that you have gifts, and it's like, I just can't be dating anybody. I can't just marry anybody because, like, nigga, you can be out here, excuse my language, but ninja, you can just be out here just looking to take my energy or like feed off of it, because I've had that too. Like, some people just like your fucking energy. They like being connected to you because it makes them feel better about themselves. And I guess you can say that's like an energy vampire or something like that, but like to the degree of where they benefit off of your energy, to where they're kind of stealing your energy, your identity, like your creativity. Like, the shit's fucking weird. And that's why I always tell men and women alike, like, y'all gotta be careful out here when it comes to who you're dating and who you're sleeping with, because some people are just not for you, and people just think it's just laying down and having a good time and getting up and going, but it's like, it's so much layers to that. And some people may not go in thinking that, oh, I'm going to take from this person with a whole like blueprint and plan how they're going to do it. Some people, it's their own inner demons inside of them that's operating and feeding. And so you just got to be wise. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Why are you here? Like, who sent you? Like, what do you want? For real. And I do that with people that want to, get to know me as friends and, women and stuff. And I'd be like, bitch, what you want? Because I like, if you're a woman, you get my drift. Like, women, we can be like really deceptive and manipulative and very catty and jealous. And it's like, mm-mm. So, because I seen how fake women can be with each other. Like, oh, you're my bestie, you're my best friend. And the next minute you talking about you can't stand her. Like, it's ugly. Like, it's scary. Yeah. So as far as like, I don't care. I've heard this from other men. I didn't seen it. Okay, they will walk down the aisle with you and marry you, look you in the eye, kiss you, and act like all is well. And then they cheat in the next week, or they just married you because it was convenient, and the woman they really want to be with, they can't be with her or some shit. Like, God, I'll be damned. Okay, I'll be damned. No, like I can't. Like, just go be with the bitch who you want to be with. And if you can't be with her, then don't use somebody else. Like, don't let me be the one, because I will eliminate myself. Don't let me be that one. I'm just not. You want something else or you prefer something else, like, nigga, don't waste your time on me. Go somewhere else. I don't need it. Because it's just, I feel like it's just too much deception and love to where it's like, it is kind of scary to even, like, let alone walk down the aisle. Like, God help me. Like, if I'm, like you say, Lord, like you said, I'm supposed to be married and all this shit. If that's the case, you really gonna have to convince me that it's safe to do that. Because I'm not doing that with just anybody. Because you be thinking somebody into you and they're behind your back still fucking pining after some bitch that they dated in high school or something. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I can't do it. I'm not. I refuse to be, because this is my sentiments. I'm not going to marry a man that I know I don't feel complete about. If I don't feel like I want to spend the rest of my life with you, I want to have my children with you. Like, I'm sharing a lineage with you. It's not just, as a child, granted, or I shouldn't say child, I was a young adult. I didn't make the best decision. Like, if I would have known better, but my daughter was supposed to be here, so I'm not going to say it in that way, but like, if I had a better sense of self-esteem and a spiritual understanding of why it's important to be mindful of who you have children with, because that's your legacy, that's your generations, and like, not everybody, and on a deeper spiritual level, some people you're not meant to mix with, coexist with. Like, I'm not a really big fan of how, my daughter's father's family is and how they move. I didn't feel at home. I didn't feel like this is my family. And that's big to me. Like, I want to feel connected, not just with my person, but I want to feel that with their family as well. I want to feel like this is my family. And granted, probably not going to get along with every person in their family or their friends and all this shit. But for the most part, like, I want to feel accepted and welcome. And I didn't fully feel that. I didn't like certain things like they did. So it was like, if I would have chosen better, like, that would have probably been a different situation. But moving forward, like marrying somebody, I barely trust getting in a relationship like anymore. Like, I barely trust that. But there's this part of me that knows, like, God's not going to put me out there and play me and put me in a situation where I'm somebody's second choice or somebody's, oh, I'll just settle with you because, you're available or you're safe or whatever stupid shit that we do as humans to each other, like fucked up shit, rather than it just being purely about, I want to be with you and I want to be with you. Like, you're who I want to be with. And one of my good sis, Dara, she says she wants the man that she can't live without. Like, she's single until she meets the man that she can't live without. And I'm like, to add on to that, he got to be the same way, and not like in this toxic needy energy, but like it just wouldn't make sense to do life without this person. That's the type of shit that I want. I don't want it to be some kind of convenience or because whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be some optional thing. Like, yeah, love is a choice. Like, you choose whether you're gonna walk in love or you're not gonna choose love. But people be getting married to people that they don't really want to be with, and it's for convenience or because they don't want to be single anymore, because they're getting older, or because the man or the woman that they want is not available, or they're with someone else, or this person is safe, or this person has money and I need survival. Like, I don't want that, because that's not love to me. Like, you're walking down the aisle for what? So I'm not in a rush to just be like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. Oh, I got to be with this person. Like, soon as spirit reveals to me that something is not for me, like, I know now to fucking let it go. There's a reason why it's not working. In a way where it's like, you know that it's not for you. It's not a matter of, okay, it's patience and timing. Like, some things, yeah, they do require work. They require, time, effort, and energy and patience. But some shit is just like, this is not for you, and you're forcing it, and you feel it. I really, 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 with every fiber of my being, believes that we know deep down inside when something is not for us. We just choose to ignore it. Like, we know, as humans, we know. We always know. And when you find someone that you feel at home with, it's like you feel that sense of, like, I feel like you just know. I don't want to, I told God, like, I want to know that I know. Like, I don't want to be in a position that's not for me. And I don't feel like God would even allow that to happen anyway, because like I said, like, I be thinking, oh, okay. Oh, he cute. Oh, I think he likes me. Oh, we cool, whatever. And then something just like, it just, just like, nope, you thought, bitch, you thought. And then it's like, okay, I get it. I see. I understand. I see, spirit. Okay. All right. But yeah, like, I gotta know that I know, and I want a person to know that they know. Like, I always use social media as an example, but I seen this video, like, this was probably like 3 years ago, I want to say, that I seen this video, and I saved it in my phone. But he said that he went out on a date with this girl for the first time. I don't know if they might have been like lightly talking. I don't know how they met or whatever, but they went on their first date, and he was like, soon as I seen her, I felt like she was my wife. And then the next day, I told all the women that I was talking to, like, dating or whatever, that it was done. It was over with. Like, I can't talk to you no more. Like, that's the type of shit that I want. And that could be a tourist thing. But if you can't do that, I can't be with you. I can't. Because I just be side-eyeing people that don't want to give up their little, like, no. Because that means you're not sure still. Like, if you're still holding on to, the little trinkets on the side, then that means you're not completely sure. And therefore, you're just not, you ain't it. Just not it. But yeah, I seen that, and I've heard that so many times. Like, I've read articles, I've heard it from people. Like, you just know, like, you just know both sides, men and women. Like, you just know. But like, men, they know. So when they decide, that you're just whatever category they place you in, you could tell that they're not serious about you in some way. And granted, like, everybody has some level of like a unique situation, so I can't put every single person into one category and box. But for the most part, men know like what they see you to be and what, you are and what they're going to do with you. They already know that. And like, sometimes some people don't pursue certain things that they, may truly want or feel like, is meant for them if they're not ready. So there's that. But at the same time, I don't know. I guess it is a little bit of a gray area, with situations and dating. But like I said, I'll be damned. Like, I just I don't see the point in marriage. Like, because I don't look at marriage as just a piece of paper like some people will have it, like will say like, oh, it's just a piece. I don't see it that way. It's not just a piece of paper. Um, it's a deeper, you know, it's a deeper type of thing. It's a ceremony. It's a ritual. It's a spiritual act. It's a spiritual agreement. And I don't feel like those things are just something to tamper with and play with. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't see that. So some people marry for money, some people marry for other conveniences, and that's, you know, if both people are in agreement, that's their thing. But, you know, to marry when there's deception behind it, I just don't agree with it. Like, why get married at all? Why go through that? And then you got to pay for divorce and all. Like, why do that? Like, for what? Yeah. You cut everybody off. And this is the thing too, because like I don't know if you guys, I don't know what your situation is, if you stayed together or you didn't. But let's say like some people would look at it and be like, well, see, she cut off all these people for this woman and they didn't end up together. But it's like when it comes to love, like it is a journey. And at the time, that's what you were led to do. You felt that in your being, like, okay, I feel like this is somebody I want to get serious with. And that shows your level of commitment. Like, to me, I don't respect a person like that feels like somebody is a good catch or a good thing, but they're still like, but I'm gonna keep these people. Like, no. Like, no, not at all. um and I say this all the time. Love is a courageous act. It really is a choice to be courageous and go. And it's not easy. Like for me, like I said, like obviously I was being transparent with y'all. Like I'm really just, I'm like, like I had to, like I'll give people a fair shot as as a friend and to get to know them on that level, because I feel like that's what you should do anyway. Like even if you have a feeling like, okay, this person could be like something good potentially, or I feel this, or let's say it's as deep as you feel like this person could be the one, but allow yourself to like really see and get to know the person as a person, see if you even really like them, because you got to subside, like you got to get past the initial attraction and the sexual chemistry, like because that shit will waver. But is there, you know, an actual connection, like where you actually like them genuinely as a person, and the parts about them that are a little bit quirky or maybe a little bit annoying are these things that you can live with and be like, that's my person, they get on my nerve, but I still love them. Like, you know, like can you get past that? Or is it just, oh, he fine or she fine and she's bad and this and that, and then it's like, okay, well after that, what else? Because she ain't gonna look like the IG baddie forever. Like some women have it good where we can just like pop up and look like Angela Bassett. Like some of us don't have that gene pool or the, I guess, the dedication to do the work on your body like that. But I'm just saying, like, not everybody's gonna be a baddie forever, and that's, or fine forever. Like, you know what I mean? Can you still love me with my wrinkles and shit? Like when our teeth start falling out and the magic stick don't work no more. Like, are we still gonna be in love? Are we still gonna love each other? Or is it like, oh, that's it? Well, you know, are you gonna be like an old man with some dentures still looking at 20-year-olds? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't. You can't be a dusty all your life. And some people are. I'm just like, you. How old is you? You still a fucking dusty? Like, that's sad as shit. It's horrible. Just a fucking Rolling Stone just ain't no good. Like, I done seen some old thotties, some old thotty grannies. I'm just, but I mean, it is what it is, whatever. Guess Papa wasn't putting it down. I don't know. But as far as just love is concerned, like, just, I can't. I found that video, but I don't know if it's going to play because it's been in my phone for years. Let me see. I'm going to play it so y'all can hear it. Let me see. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Yeah, this is real. This is real. This is real. He said. The moment I saw her, this. You know, I joke around a lot, but I'm dead serious when I say this. As clear as you hear my voice now, something said to me, "This is your wife." You know, it could have been God. It could have been somebody standing behind me. It could have been
the lady trying to sell me something on the street. I don't know, right in this ear right here, it said, "As clear as you hear me, as clear as you hear her." As soon as I saw her come
Yes,
up them
part.
steps, when I went and met her, it said, "This is your wife," and I said, "Okay, this is I got to do this one the right way." And I'm gonna tell you something else. As I'm sitting there at dinner with her, you know, lunch date, on our lunch date, pardon the noise, we sitting outside. On our lunch date, you know what I'm saying? I'm texting like girls I was talking to, telling them, leave me alone. Don't text me no more.
See, look, did y'all catch that? He said, I thought he did it after the date. He said he was still at the table with her eating lunch, texting his hoes and telling them like it's over. And another part that he said that stood out to me, he said when he heard audibly like this is your wife, he said, okay, I gotta do this one the right way. That's what I'm talking about. Like what's that meme with Jill Scott? That's what I'm talking about. Literally. Literally. Now he had her at the ATM. That's horrible. See, but I don't completely feel bad because I feel like that's the low self esteem. Like you could be 6 years old and still have a shit pool value worth of self esteem to where you know that this young man is only with you because of money and you're okay. It's like just as long as I get me some of that young, then. But that's their business. I guess that's what they want to do. Step out the way. That's some horrible shit. That's just cruelty. But like I said, people be doing that shit to themselves. They do it to themselves. Unfortunately, like some people are okay with being used and abused because it's like, well, at least I have a man. Well, at least I have this. She bad. Like that. That's fucking stupid. Like that's dumb as fuck. I'm sorry. Like that's how dense people are. Like as long as you got somebody or as long as she look good, like that's like what can you do with that? Like, but are you really happy though? That's the thing. Are you really happy? You know? And does this woman do anything for you other than just being fine? Like that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Yeah, transactional situations. Transactional. Exactly. That's the right word. And some people are okay with that. But like I said, like I'm just not one of them people. Like I want spiritual fulfillment. I want spiritual fulfillment, emotional, like, and I know, like, obviously, not everybody's gonna be happy all the time. Not everybody's perfect, but again, like, your person's quirks and flaws and yours. Is it something that you guys would be like, you're annoying as fuck, but I still love you? Like, or is it like, I can't stand you. I don't know why. Because I've been there. Like, there's things I'm just like, why am I with this person? I can't, I can't. Like, you're evil as fuck. Why am I with you? Like, we're no good to, like, good to each other. We're no good for each other. It's like, what are we doing? I don't know how people do it. And don't say, oh, it's because we got kids. Like, bitch, I another transparent parent moment. There's no excuse unless this person is beating you up. Even then, like, God forbid, because I've been through X, Y, and Z. Like I've been in situations where we were abusive towards each other, and that is one of the reasons why I left. Like I've thought about my daughter. I'm like, she does not need to be around this. It's really bad. I'm getting out of here. We're not faithful to each other. That's another no. I went back to my grandma's house. I left my apartment. Like that was my apartment. It was in my name. And some people like, bitch, you stupid. And yeah, he was grimy. I know he had women up in the house, like all that. Men like that, they're gonna be that way. They're gonna do what they do. So I kind of already knew that. And he got busted in the most craziest way. I don't think. Matter of fact, let me story time real quick. Craziest shit ever. I started this new job. Me and my daughter's father got back together after I left that because I left a few times. I'm gonna be transparent. I left quite a few times, and we got back together again. So I left my apartment to him after we got into a really bad altercation, and he put his hands on me. And when he went to work, I split. Me and my daughter left, and I left to my grandma's house. So to get back on my feet, because I was going to school at the time, to get back on my feet, I got a job, a full time job, and there was this girl in my training class, and I left my phone at the office when we all went to lunch. So I'm like, "Can I use your phone to call my boyfriend?" And I called this ninja, and my I guess because the voice, he was like, "Hello." I was like, "So and so, whatever his name, whatever, right?" And then he was, proceeding the conversation. And he felt so guilty that he texted me later that day and he was like, that phone number that you called me from, it was this girl that my homeboy brought over. Her and her friend came over, but nothing happened, which I believe because she claimed she was a virgin and she was a little younger. So I'm like, okay, I don't think, me personally, intuitively, I don't feel that they did anything, but I know he's probably done shit with other women in there. But that was the exception. But that gave it away. That told on his ass that he would have girls come over to the apartment. So that's like, that's why I said, like, when God want to reveal something to you, oh yeah, it's gonna be revealed. And that was like crazy. Like that's how convenient. But anyway, fast forward, like it got to the point where I'm just like, I can't do this anymore, and I've left. I can't. Like I can't do it. And for the sake of kids and stability, like no, there's a point where I had to go back to my grandma's house and start from scratch and have my own money, my own stability. Eventually, yeah, I went back to that same apartment and then we broke up again, split up again, and I got another place and he moved in again. And then that was the last straw. Like we broke up from that point and I felt so liberated. But long story short, there's ways you can get out of situations if you really want to. You just have to believe that you can. Like you're not so, if anybody for 1 second feels like they're stuck in something, especially something so dark and heavy and depressive and abusive or whatever, where you're not happy or you both really aren't for each other, you really don't love each other like that, like don't think for a second that you are meant to just be stuck in that or it's just a hopeless situation. Like for one, that's not supposed to be your story, so why wouldn't your spiritual team come through and deliver you out of that? Why would you think they're going to leave you in that situation? Yeah, there might be a sacrifice that you have to make, which is probably having to go get a job or having maybe to report that person to the police. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to do what you got to do if it's for your highest well-being. And why are you sparing somebody that doesn't have enough respect for you to even take care of you and appreciate you and love you in the way that you're supposed to be loved? Why would you do that? Yeah. Why would you do that to yourself? Like you got to be honorable to yourself. Period. And that's a lesson that I've learned too. It comes from that place that I wouldn't do that to somebody else type of thing. Like I wouldn't be cold or grimy to someone else. It comes from that place. It comes from you being considerate of others, but it's also too a toxic form of love because what is love when you're harming yourself? So by you putting up with something that you don't deserve and not wanting to free yourself or to save space or for this person, to protect them and their image or for them not to reap the consequences because you don't want anything bad to happen to them. But it's like if they cared about you, they wouldn't put you through the shit that they put you through. So why are you sparing that person? Why are you being good to them and you're betraying your own self? Like that's it's not it's not the business. That's how you have to look at it with situations. As much as you may love people or you want to see the good in people or you don't want no drama, you want to keep the peace, you have to think about, well, you're harming yourself. You're harming yourself. And like it's such a like touchy subject for me to, when I hear women being, as they say, unalived by their partners and stuff like that. It's just like there's always warning signs, and granted, like, and not make an excuse that a woman deserves to be unalive if she was toxic towards them or they had, their issues too. But it's like that's why I be saying, like, you have to choose your partner wisely. Like, it's not a game. Like, yeah, sometimes it might be you come up with a little scar, such as getting cheated on or something like that, or getting played. But some women, some people, it doesn't end that way for everybody. Sometimes dating the wrong person ends up with you being unalived, or your kids being like your family members. Like, I done heard some crazy, like, I know some of you guys see those stories online where the person couldn't be with the woman, so he took the kids out, or her parents were at the house, so he took them out, like crazy stuff. And it's like, it's never that serious. It's never that serious. Like, that's not love at all. It never was love. If that takes you to that limit, that it was never love. Taking out women that are carrying your children and stuff, like, that's just, it's that's demonic energy. It's so bad. But I hate that because I know that everyone deserves to have, somebody that's for them, if that's what their heart truly desires. I do believe that you deserve it more so than being deserving of being in a relationship that's toxic or abusive or violent or whatever. Like, that's not the business. Like, it's not. Yeah, like, I've been in at least two violent relationships, like being abused, physically abused, being possessed, someone being possessive and controlling, but still doing me dirty, like cheating on me and, you know, demeaning me. Like, I've been through all of that, which is why, like, when I peep that type of energy, I will not put up with it. I'm just not, I'm not dealing with it. I'm not engaging in it. I'm not even going to give it a chance or give it a shot. As soon as I feel like you're abusive or you talking crazy about me or you talking crazy about other women and all that, oh, no, I can't fuck with you. You're sick. Like, no, I'm good. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Nope. Mm-mm. Same goes for family members. Like, fuck them too. Like, the ones that, like, mistreat you and then try to gaslight you. Oh, well, because I'm your so and so and I'm your this, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You obviously don't care if I'm your so and so and we're family. Like, you don't care. So, that's a tough thing to do too. But some family members, I'm just like, I'll be cordial with you, but I don't fuck with you like that. I'm not bending backwards over for you and all. I'm not doing that. Nope. Nope. I done set some holidays out before. Like, if I don't feel it, if I don't feel good about being around certain family members, or I just, I don't want to fake, I don't have the energy to put on a show and, keep the peace because other people are cool with the person and they're not getting, feeling the heat or being mistreated by that person. So they're okay. Like, I'll sit a holiday out. Like, I've done that before. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'll sit it out. I've done that plenty of times where I'll just stay at home. Like, I might cook something. I'll send some food over. Like, I'll cook and bring that, have Winter bring it to you if Winter wants to go, whatever. But I'm not fucking going over there. Like, fuck y'all. Some of y'all, not all of them. Literally, I'm at that place, like, where I'm just, it's my peace, and it's my peace over being fake and participating in just like things that I'm not supposed to do. That, I don't feel it. And I allow my daughter to make that decision as well. Like, if you don't feel comfortable around certain family members and you feel, mistreated, I'm not going to force you to do that. That's up to you. A pick a card with the A$AP Rocky songs you picked up on Access Energy. Girl, yeah, see, like when spirit comes through like that, or our ancestors, our divine team comes through and tells us to leave something alone. Like when anytime my spiritual team has told me to leave something alone, like whether it's people, whether it's a situation, I listen now because I've been through an experience where I didn't listen to spirit, and now I see like when I listen, there's a reason. Like spirit later, it's revealed. So I'll never forget, like, one of my good friends, she got a reading from me about this guy, and I kept hearing hell no. Like, I think it was her ancestors, because it felt like ancestors. I was like, mm-mm. Like, I just kept feeling like this weird energy. I was like, hell no. Like, your spiritual team was like, no. And she said, girl, I'm glad I listened to you because this dude had an ST. Like, it's bad. Like, I'm telling you, like, spirit will tell us. I know this to be true for a fact. Like, our spiritual team is always going to give us a heads up. They're going to show us red flags. They're not just going to throw us out there without a warning. They're going to tell us, like, there's sharks in the water. You sure you want to swim? Okay, you can get in. Okay, just make sure you ain't wearing no neon colors before you get in that bitch. But we done warned you. And it's up to us. We have free will. We have free will, but divine spirit is going to tell us, like, our spiritual team, they're going to give us heads up, and sometimes multiple times, but it's up to us. We have free will. Because I have a love for people, but I also am kind of skittish with people. Like, I'm very protective of my energy, and I always have been, even when I've been like kind of naive and wanting to give people the benefit of the doubt. I've always had a discernment about people. So, like, if someone's being nice to me, there's been moments where I'm like, bitch, you're up to something. Or if it's a man that's being overly nice, I'm like, I can tell if it's genuine or not. Like, I can tell when I'm being love bombed romantically and platonically by people. And sometimes I might, gaslight myself and be like, oh no, she's just being nice. Or, oh no, he's being nice. Like, no. And then something will be like, okay, see, something's not right. You just gotta, I say listen the first time, but sometimes as humans, you want to be like, okay, I want to make sure I'm not tripping. And that's where I come from too. Like, I want to make sure that I'm not being too harsh on people, or that I'm over analyzing, or I'm being paranoid. But if something is constantly like fucking with you, it's like, no, your intuition is screaming. Like, are you listening or nah? Are you there? Is anybody, the lights on? Nah, you just choosing to be, just ignore, what spirit's saying. But I don't want to come from that angle of paranoia, and I don't suggest anybody do that. But all I'm saying is, like, if something, like, when you understand your intuition, like, intuition is something that is kind of like this strong feeling. It's not like, it shouldn't be anxiousness per se, like, it's a knowing. So I didn't know that I was going to be in a dangerous situation before. Like, one of these encounters I had with a friend that wasn't really a friend, but something kept telling me, like, you need to stay at home. And I felt that in my spirit, like something was like, and I didn't even feel like going out that night. I wanted to just rest because my family was over for a baby shower, and I was like, I don't feel like doing anything else. I want to stay at home. And I kept feeling like, just stay home. And then something was like, just something kind of didn't sit right, but I didn't really think too much into it. So I walked into a situation that was already warning signs ahead of it. Like, okay, there's this couple, they already arguing. The guy does not like you. My friend's side dude did not like me. It was just a messy situation, and I kept feeling like something is off. But I'm like, oh, okay, we just gonna go out. It's gonna be cool. Just ignore him. Don't let him get to you. And then he started beating her up, and I was just like, okay, like, I got it. I can't. And me being the friend and the lover that I am, and I shouldn't have inserted myself, but I was like, don't you put your hands on my friend. Like, I got into fight, like, I kind of blacked out. I didn't touch him. We just kind of had an exchange, and he wasn't coming at me, but after that, it was like it kind of activated that dislike he already had in me even more. So he kept, looking at me. So we was kind of going back and forth, exchanging energy. Like what you put, like, just kind of going back and forth, and that did not end well. I should have never put myself in that situation. And why? Because that bitch wouldn't do the same for me. She would never do the same for me. She didn't even respect herself enough to leave that dude alone. Like, she stayed with him that night after the incident happened. And I share this story all the time because it's one of the reasons why I trust my intuition now. When spirit tells me something, I listen. I don't play about it anymore. And every time that I felt that feeling about situations and people, they'll either tell on themselves afterwards or something will just reveal itself about them. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad I listened to my intuition. I had like a lot of grace that night because that he could have like really fucked. I say this all the time. I had a knife. I pulled a knife out on him because like I didn't like the way that he was looking at me. Never did I think, which I'm stupid not to think that, but if he can put his hands on, my friend in front of me and his friend, that he doesn't care. So I didn't think like, oh, he's going to put his hands on me. I never thought that. So when he did it, it was like a shock. And I went into like survival mode, and I jumped out of the car and I ran blind. I couldn't see out of my eyes. I'm running. I don't even know where I'm fucking running to. How am I running? I can't see shit. I don't know how I was able to do that. But it was like an instinct. And then this group of people in a car, and something told me just get in, and I got in. And they obviously like they made sure that I was good, made sure that I had a ride home and all of that. So I was fine with them up until that point. But my point is that it's like 2 points in one. First point is trust your intuition when you first get a sense of something. Second point is, again, that self-betrayal for the sake of other people that do not respect you the same, do not love you the same, wouldn't do the same for you. It's like you have to really stand on that. Like, if you're not, respectful, loyal, honorable, love me love me back, I'm not doing that. I'm not about to betray myself because I'm all I have at the end of the day. Like, yeah, there's people that love you and have your back and all of that. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to have your back or love you like you do. No one. No one. Like, you, really, she was not my friend. Like, in the end, like, I'm glad that I separated from her. But just looking back, if I would have just played my position, let's say hypothetically I would have went knowing that my intuition told me no. But if I wouldn't have gotten out of that car, and I wouldn't even feel right. Like, I can't even scratch that out of the story because I couldn't just sit back and watch somebody whip my friend's ass. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm chill and I like, peace, and I don't like no drama. But if I'm in a situation where I have to defend myself or I feel like someone else is in a bad situation, that it automatically comes out of me. I don't think twice. So I put myself in that position. I couldn't see myself not doing it. But let's say that I didn't provoke it. I didn't, me and him didn't go back and forth. I kind of just left it alone. It probably wouldn't have went down the way that it did. Maybe not. I don't know. I just know that I have to honor myself, more. So that's pretty much, like, I don't know, like, I don't know where this is going. I told y'all, like, spirit just throw me out there and just make me, get in that space. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. But yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but I just hope that like I could help people because I know sometimes I can come across so harsh sometimes. I sound so harsh when I say things, but it's really not me. Um, because I know my delivery can kind of come across a certain way sometimes. Like I'm insensitive to people's situations and problems. But no, like, I don't know. Because I guess because I put myself in this, sometimes I can be too hard on myself when it comes to certain things. Like, you should do this and you shouldn't do that. And why did you do that? So I kind of hold myself to this standard, like, not to just go on with things too long, even though sometimes I have a tendency to, but it's like at a certain point, I'll get to like, no, I can't do this anymore. I can't allow this to go on. I can't keep, people disrespecting me or allowing people disrespect. Like it will get to a point where I'm not able to do it. So if you're somebody, like I said, you're an empathic person, you're a lover, you're not a fighter by nature, or this is not in you, like you just don't like confrontation and you like to keep the peace, you're a family person and all of that, it's not always easy to just be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? But you got to really protect, like, it's this, how to explain it? It's this energy of protection. Like, you have to have a protection about yourself. Again, like you're all you have. Like, yeah, you might have people that love you unconditionally and have your back, but at the end of the day, like, if nobody else has your back, are you going to be like, I got my back at the end of the day? It's not really, how to explain it? Just, I feel like could just be my perception of things. But let's put it like this. If you say that you love somebody, and I feel like you genuinely do love someone, you can genuinely love a person that hurts you, but at a certain place, there's a little level of unhealthiness to that love to where it's like, why would you stay? And if it's because, let's say for some people's excuse, oh, well, that's been, we've been married for 10 years, or that's been my bestie since, high school or whatever, right? So I can't just cut that off. Like, that's not a good enough excuse. That doesn't warrant it because, again, I'm going to flip it back to the other person. Are they considering those 10 years of marriage? Are they considering that you've been so-called best friends since high school? Are they considering that? Obviously not. If they're mistreating you, like, obviously it's not the same sentiments for them. And, sometimes, like, because we want to be loved so much, or we care about what people think, and as humans, I feel like that's to a degree that is normal, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But there is like another spectrum of it to where it is unhealthy to say, I care so much about what people think that I'll sacrifice my well-being for the sake of appeasing or appealing to everybody else outside of me. And my soul is crying, my soul is in pain. I'm not really happy, but I'm okay as long as I have a false sense of security and a false sense of love and appreciation or acceptance. So that's not enough, it's not healthy. And to say like, oh, well, I don't want this person. I'm gonna be like, that was my part of my excuse was on the surface, it was because I wanted a family and I wanted to have like a mate. And I felt like if I broke up with my daughter's father, that I would kind of be a failure. And I wanted her to have a house with like a family, even though it wasn't healthy. It wasn't a family structure to it. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't really there as a romantic partner, nor as like, he was in the house, he was providing, but it didn't have that family structure. It wasn't that. So that was a fault. That was false. And then the other part of it was thinking, okay, what if he goes off with somebody else? And I had to bite through that because he's been in two relationships, in one now, and I haven't been. I mean, okay, I don't really count this as a relationship because it was only 2 months. So I guess that would be equivalent to just dating someone steady for 2 months, but that wasn't a relationship. It wasn't a true commitment because it didn't last past that. So I've only dated someone consistently once since me and my daughter's father have been together, or haven't been together, excuse me. He's been in two full relationships, had another child with someone else, and now he's currently in one now. So I've lived through that, but there's a part of me that's not looking at it like, oh, I'm missing out with him. It's like a place of, I and I have to check myself with this because it's like, for one, you can't look at somebody else's journey and look at it as, well, I'm here. Why don't I have somebody? I've done this and I've been working on myself. Why am I so single? But, that's his journey. That's his choice. He's there for whatever reason, whatever, right? And I don't look at it as a loss with him because I'm like, that's not the person for me. So there's no loss in that. So I lived through that. So if that's something that stops people to be like, oh, well, what if they get someone else? Like, if it's a good man and it just didn't work out, or it's a good woman and didn't work out, yeah, that might hurt a little bit more. But if it's somebody that was hurtful to you and toxic to you, that is not a loss. And the biggest, thing that might sting too is like, what if they're a better man or a better woman with someone else? And that also too is like, you got to separate your journey from their journey. What if that's the person that they're supposed to be with? It wasn't meant for you guys to get it right together. Your person that's going to get right with you is still out there. So you can kind of take that off of you, that pressure and that, demon, like, not even demonizing yourself, but just kind of like villainizing. Like, you don't have to villainize the other person to feel good, and you don't have to villainize yourself and be like, oh, I guess it's me. Something's wrong with me. And in some cases, sometimes, yeah, like, it could be that. But if you know that the situation was toxic on both ends, or this person was treating you bad and you weren't, doing anything hurtful or harmful, it's just a matter of, it's just not wrong. It's the wrong person. That's not for you. That is not for you. And I had those moments where I was like thinking, well, what if I just stayed? But you would be miserable. Like, you wouldn't be happy. You know what I mean? And regardless, like, of that, what's going on over there, I had to do what I had to do for me, and not only that, for my daughter. But if you're a single person, you have to think about your wellness. You have to. Especially when it comes to, like, if you have kids or a child, like, you have to definitely, it's just not about you. And trust me, it's not healthier to stay. Like, I don't know where people get that shit from. Like, it's not healthier to stay just because, it's a two-parent home. What, they gonna hear you arguing every night, seeing mommy cry, or, whatever is going on, or daddy suffer, or whatever, like, whatever the household looks like, you think that that's better for the child versus being in a healthy environment where both parents, have their shit together separately, have healthy homes, and still love the child. Like, and then that's the consequences too. When I think about this, I said, well, damn, like, yeah, it could be healthy. And sometimes the other parent is not healthy, and it may have to be that, you handle your shit on your own. But it's like, it makes you go, damn, like, again, I should have chose better for myself. I should have, but you can't do that because your children, there's a reason and purpose as to why they're here. But it does, that's the consequences of when you get into situations that are not for you, you know. And we can't predict every outcome in life. Like, hardly ever are we able to predict every situation in life. Like, it's going to be moments where things appear to be good, or it seems like this is a good situation. I'm not just talking about relationships, but like any circumstance, situation, it feels good in the moment, or it seems right. And sometimes it is for the season. It serves the purpose. But it's the knowing when it's time. And that's the thing about love and relationships, that some connections are just meant to be seasonal, or they're meant to be experiences that you have to like help you or the other person, or just to enjoy that moment in life for whatever reason, and then move forward. It's not meant to clinch on tight to it. you know. And then there's those connections where it is meant, or it is something, special, or divine, or um, you're in your purpose finally. You're not being stationed in an assignment, because that's the thing too. Like, let's get into that. Let's kind of, I charge my phone, so the sound may not be as clear because I got to put the charger in. But let's talk about that for a second. When you're in a journey of trying to figure out your path and your purpose specifically, um, from my personal experience, like, and anyone that could just be, I feel like an assignment doesn't always have to be spiritual, like on the surface. It could be deeper underneath the surface spiritual, like let's say like a 9 to 5 job or school, where you might have a good paying job, and you feel at home with the people at work, and you're connecting, and you're elevating, in the office, or you're elevating, in your career, whatever, right? You're getting higher positions, and then all of a sudden they have to start letting people go, they have to start cutting budgets, or they have to close the company down, and just like, fuck, I thought this is where I'm supposed to be. No, that was a season. It served its purpose, but that doesn't mean that you're a failure, or you can't go on, or you're not going to find anything just as good, or something maybe more suitable for you. When it comes to like spiritual journeys, like with me, what I've noticed is like, with this YouTube thing, this was an assignment. Not to say that I won't be on here, but I feel like um it's not as popping and booming and successful as it was, because I haven't really changed anything much, other than not anything significant to the point where I could be losing views. Like, I feel like I still am just still the straightforward reader. Like, I'm gonna tell you straight up what it is. I might be a bit more stern in my message, because I'm not a baby, to this anymore. Like, when I first started, I was like kind of like, wet behind the ears, and I was still kind of like unsure and kind of shy still, and I was such a people pleaser as well. Like, it's all about my viewers, until I was like guided to stop doing the twin flame stuff. Then it was a little bit of a decline, but I still had people that would still subscribe, and it hasn't deviated, it hasn't changed much. I've been through a lot of shifts, but not to the point where it's like where it's at. So I feel there comes a point where certain things, it just reaches its limit, and it's like, it is what it is. It's an assignment, because this, where I'm at right now with reading, it's like I can do this with my eyes closed. It's like, it's nothing. It's like I'm past the fear of coming on camera. Like, yeah, sometimes I get a little anxious, but like, not where I used to be. I'm not the people pleaser. Like, when it comes to delivering my messages, I deliver them. I get them out as I'm supposed to. So it's like, there's no challenge beyond this anymore for me. Also, as far as like who I'm supposed to help, like that as well. Like, maybe there was a point in time, where a season, where Spirit's like, I want you to help 500 viewers, 1,000 viewers. When I would get those type of numbers, now it's like, okay, maybe my message is exclusive only for a certain amount of people, 100, 200 people, 300 people, 70 people, whatever the views are on certain videos. And that's okay. Some people watch old videos. Like, some people still comment on videos I recorded like years ago. So like, everything happens for a reason. I don't feel like this is my complete purpose, especially just not really so much on YouTube. Like, I feel like there's more. So I have those moments where I'm like, am I doing something wrong? But I have to think bigger than that. That God has other things for me. And like I said, like, seasonal situations don't always have to just be romantic. Sometimes it is just where you're at in life. Sometimes it's your circumstances. Like, it's their seasons. Like that scripture in the Bible says, there's a purpose and season and a time for everything under the heaven. So like, there's a reason and purpose behind everything. and there's a season behind it. They all serve a purpose. Not everything lasts forever, and then there are things where it's like you're moving in your purpose fully. You are where you're supposed to be. But there's times where like you're going to be called to be in certain environments for a reason, to learn lessons, or to be, you know, a shift for people, or an environment that you're in, or to grow, or to learn more skills, or you know what I mean. It's it's seasonal. But yeah, like with the reading and stuff, like I love it. Like that's my shit. Like I love to do readings. I love to give people guidance, and I feel so, you know, I feel so purposeful when God gives me messages and guidance to share with people, and when I'm able to help give people guidance and insight, or you know, to talk about topics that are helpful or transformative. Like I love it. But I know that this isn't the only thing that I'm capable of and that I'm supposed to be doing. So looking at YouTube as a fail would be ignorant, because, you know, as a human, like obviously you're gonna look at decline as a negative, but sometimes like there's a greater purpose behind it, and it's not always a negative, you know. Oh wow. 2017. Yep. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, and I would even shame myself for like being a messenger that picks up a lot of love situations. But I know that, and I'm a lover, not just romantic lover, but I love people, I love animals, and I love romantic love, and I believe in it. I love spirit. I love my ancestors. Like I have love, so I get why those messages, relationships surround, you know, energy surrounding relationships would come up. And as humans, like love is a big thing. Connectivity, community, you know, family, friends, romance, like those are things that are meaningful to us because we're community minded people naturally. So there's a lot of healing in that. There's a lot of growth in that, and some things we don't understand, some things that are painful. You know, we have like some of our biggest lessons are going to come from love and heartbreak, or from abuse, or from, you know, generational things. But it can be beautiful experiences. It doesn't always have to be the painful side of things. But you know, I feel like why love is such a big thing, is because, you know, it's something that is natural, it's beautiful, it's purposeful. But it's also another side where, you know, why love is such a big topic, and why, you know, people obsess over it partially is because, you know, they don't want to have to deal with themselves. And I feel like sometimes why we find ourselves in troubling situations is because with love, we get obsessed with it and we make it such a high level of importance, is because it's kind of like it takes away from looking at the self. It takes away from the personal relationship that you have with yourself. And as a messenger, as a like with spirit, you know, uses me for guidance and stuff like that. One of the biggest things that I pay attention to with the when I start getting too involved, like too fond, like even of a friend, like when me and a friend would like be too close and we would like take up each other's time, I notice like there will be moments where God will split us up. Or if I'm like too into a guy and I'm like kind of I'm making people outside of my relationship with myself and God an idol, God will remove those people out of my life, or just cause a separation for a time, and kind of like ground me, like put me back in a level of groundedness, you know what I mean? And it kind of like back in a perspective. Hey, yes, love is purposeful, but I feel like sometimes like it's important to have a relationship with yourself, especially as a spiritual worker, because like you want to be in tune with source God, like you want to be one with source, because that's where your relationship with spirit, the spiritual realm, comes into play, and why it's so important. When you're so attached to things outside of yourself, you're distracted. It's okay to have human interaction and to connect, but when you're overly stimulated by things externally outside of yourself, not just with people, but just like things and situations and money and work can take you out of that place of connection if you're not careful too. Like you got to have that ground to connect. Yeah, yeah. I can identify with that too, baby Pico. Like my mom and my dad, like they divorced when I was young, so I never really saw them interact in a loving way, and that's a whole nother topic. But I was used to seeing my mom in different dynamics and things like that, and it actually was like the opposite. Like you would think, because they say like sometimes we model after our parents, even whether it's the good or the bad things, we can model after them. But that's one thing that I feel like I didn't want for my daughter, is to see, have her be around different men and see me in different relationships. Like that's not something that I just, and it wouldn't be that way anyway. Not just because of her, but because like how I see relationships, I just don't. I've never been the type of person that had a man and then the next minute I had a man within weeks. Like that was never been me. Like I've always had series periods. What, Foxy? I've always had periods of singleness. Like it was never like, oh, I'm done talking to this dude. Oh, here's another one. It's always kind of like, it's just it's always a gap, I guess you could say. Like, well, there'll be a guy, I'll be interested in him, and he'll be interested in me, and there'll be some type of exchange, but it won't go too far. Like it's always kind of that stop and go type of thing, but that won't happen consistently. It's like every blue moon, like somebody comes along that I'm like, ooh, okay, like have a little, little vibe, but it just is what it is. So I've never been a serial dater to where I'm like, okay, I'm good. I had probably one like season of being that type of girl that talked to this guy and talked to that guy, and I was in my youth before I had my daughter. Like I had that period where I was wilding. Like for that, it was like a 2 year gap. Like from 18 to like 19 years old, I had like I guess a year gap where I was on that, and a little bit towards the tail end of high school, like hanging around my fast ass homegirls and stuff. Like maybe, but even then, like I didn't have a lot of sex consistently. Like I just didn't experience that unless I was in a relationship, which I can only count one real relationship that I've had. The high school one, that was more just like a fucking trauma bond shit. That shit was like fucking crazy. But long story short, that that boy scarred me. I don't want to say for life. I don't want to put that on myself, but it's a lot of healing from that high school situation, because that was like my first DV situation, being cheated on, being abused in multiple ways. Just he was trash. He was evil. Like that dude is he's he wasn't stable. Like he put me through a lot. I was a, what do you call it? Those women that like deal with jailbirds. Like before there was before I was even out of high school, I was sitting here fucking coming to see this dude while he was in fucking clinics because he was on drugs. Like at 16, that he was on drugs. Like what? Like addicted to drugs. So I went through some weird shit at a young age that I shouldn't have as a young girl. Like it's not something that a teenage girl should go through. Not in that span of time. So like when I got old enough to go out and all that, I kind of had a wild and out season, and then it ended very quickly when I got pregnant. So, nah, I just never been that type to have like multiple men and be like, okay, I'm done talking to him. Oh, there's another one like that. I don't. I just can't get into that. And it's not something that happens anyway because it's like I'm not, I'm grateful that I'm not in a space where I'm tempted. Like, even if, like, I've been on dating sites and stuff like that, and you'll see people, but I read energy, and I'm not appeased by, oh, he fine, or he got a Mercedes Benz, and he got this, like, or whatever, or he a rapper, and he's like that type of shit, like, or oh, he's got money, like, that doesn't appeal to me. Like, I have to have some type of connection. So it's rare that I'll see someone and I feel like, okay, we can connect, we can vibe. Because obviously, like, there's plenty of attractive men everywhere. Like, it's men everywhere, right? Just like there's attractive women everywhere. But, like, for me, I don't get geeked up off of simple things. So it's not something that I feel like I can fall into a trap of talking to one guy and then like, oh, there's another one. Oh, he wants to take me out. Like, that's not, like, I'm just not into that shit. Like, that's just not me personally. Not saying that it's good or bad. It's just never been me. I don't know. Just not my thing, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing too with kids that I really I be thinking it's just a Tyler Perry movie, but no, like, you'll hear women talk about how their mothers would, like, put their boyfriends over them, and if they felt uncomfortable around a man, the mom would start to get jealous and stuff. Like, that's not cool. And I'm very protective of my daughter, and that's another reason why I don't just be dating anybody, because some men are just predators. They nasty. Like, I want someone that, I can trust around my daughter wholeheartedly and genuinely trust around her. Like, I just, there's predators everywhere, and some be like, the younger the better, and I'm just, you know, I have to protect her. And I don't even post her online and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I'm very like, like, no. So that's another thing too, why I'm just like, it's just not easy to just be, I can't, like, I know some women just be like, well, you need to just give love a chance, but I'm not that desperate for love though. Like, yeah, I love. I would love to have a partner and be in a relationship, but at the same time, like, I'm cool. I'm not in a rush. Like, I want to make sure that it's right in a lot of areas, that important areas for me. And one of those important areas is the safety of my daughter. So I can't just be out here. Half of the people that I've been, cool with, like, they've never even met her. Like, I'll talk about, you know, guys that I've talked to before or something, or if I go somewhere, I'll tell her, but I'm not bringing them around her. I'm not involving her too much in my situations. Like, that's stuff that you talk about with your girlfriends, like, stuff that, kids shouldn't know about. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's situations where you're having some issues with somebody, or, whatever. Like, she doesn't need to know any of that. So, yep, sever it all. Sever it all, child. Definitely. But yeah, even boys too. Like, I know this is a touchy subject, and I feel for young boys and girls, and then those young girls and boys that grew up to be adults, that, their parent, their mother may have had a man around that was a predator, or shit. My one of my mom's exes was telling us that his babysitter, this woman that his dad was cool with, that he hired to babysit him, was messing with him. But he didn't look at it like, he didn't see it as a predatory thing. He thought it was cute. But some people don't look at shit like that as cool. Like, even if it's a heterosexual male that's going through that with a woman, he might look at it and be like, this isn't right. Like, I feel violated. So that can go hand in hand, and it's just like, it's unfortunate that some people would rather be like, oh, well, that's my man, or he's my husband, or whatever. Or just bring some random stranger, some woman that he don't really know into his house, and she's probably, doing stuff she ain't got no business. Like, it's never that serious. Yeah. Yeah, I know some people. I know, like, for a fact, like, my grandma, like, all my family, most of the time, like, my family will ask, my grandma asked me, like, a few weeks ago, why don't I have somebody? And I told her, and it sounds weird, and sometimes I'll be like, well, maybe I need to stop being so this and that. But like I said, if I feel a genuine connection, I don't mind being friends with someone and giving them a fair chance. But as soon as I feel like, you know, something is off, like you're not, you're just playing games and shit. Like that's some things that I run into, and I get that some men will not be able to fully stick it out with me because you're not gonna get me in bed. Like if that's not happening, you know what I mean? Like if we're not in a commitment or relationship, I don't trust you like that enough. We're not fucking. Like I'm sorry, it's not happening. I don't care how fine you look, how long it's been for me. Like that's not happening. um you're not gonna be able to like play games with me and I'll stick around and put up with it like probably some women are okay with doing. So like certain things, like, cause they'll be cool with me. Like we'll be cool. It's nothing wrong. Like they'll be wanting to see me again and all that, but then it's like after that they don't do anything else. And at least I have one testament to why they did that, why they ghosted, is because he said he felt like he wasn't mature enough for me. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I get it, I guess. Um, but yeah, like I'm just not in a rush, and I understand like it might seem weird to people because I'm not just out here just actively dating. I don't see the point in it. I can see when I say dating, this is what I mean by dating. Dating as far as I guess you could say like if you go out on a date, like I've gone on like little meetups real quick and getting to know someone and converse and have a good time. And then sometimes it's just like, okay, no, this ain't it. But for me, like dating is like, I guess talking as we call it, talking to somebody and meeting up consistently, and then sex is involved, but there's nothing, no title. And some people are cool with that, but me, I'm just not into that. Not to say that I've never been in that position before a few times because I thought that shit was normal, but for me, it's not normal. Personally, like for me, I don't feel like that's normal. Like I don't want to just be sharing my body casually with someone else, and then of course I'm sure obviously they're most likely sharing their body casually with other people, if not multiple people. So it's like that's not, I'm not into that. And I like to build a connection. So that's why I say like friendships and getting to know people, that's cool. Like man and woman or whatever you into, like I feel like that should be had because I want to see like, do we even really vibe? Do we like each other beyond just like, oh, you fine or she's fine? And like, can we get past that? Because I'm not at that place where I'm just frivolous and I just want to fuck and then, oh, okay, oh, I like him, and then like I'm not into that. I just, I don't want to do that. So no, allow me to get to know you to see if I even fucking like you first. Because I'm not going to be like, oh, let's fuck. And then I'll figure out. Like, I ain't doing that. And that's another thing, too. Like, I'm not just, I don't just want to fuck. Like, I want to make love, too. Like, I want to have a connection with someone. I don't see sex as just that. And I feel like people just throw that energy around and just, it's too casual for me. Like, I just don't like that. So I feel like I can get to know a person on a friendship level and build on that. And I feel like that's a healthy way to do it. That's a healthy way. Like let somebody take you out that you feel like, okay, it's cool, let me see what it's about, and have a good time. And if you guys want to see each other again and build off of a connection, cool. But for me, like just getting with somebody just because and to fill my space and my time up, and because they look good, and oh, we chilling, we all adults, let's have sex. Like I don't, I that's just not me. And I know that sounds weird, but that's just not me. I can't do it. Yeah. And granted, like, yeah, I've said yes to, who I felt led to say yes to like, meet up, and whether it's like have a coffee date or some shit, and just give them the opportunity to, like, get to know them and things like that, without having it in my mind, oh, this might be my husband. I just was like open, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to the level with somebody that I know is not on that same page of connecting. Like, yeah, I want it to be genuine. I don't want it to be pressure of like, oh, we gotta end up together. But what I'm saying is, the things that I was giving away so casually and so frivolously to people that were just meant to be a season, I will never do that again. Never. Like, I can be friends with men and be cool, and we don't have to have sex. Like, that's one thing you're not getting from me is sex. So that kind of takes away from some of my options, because once that's like established, like, yeah, we were just chilling, and I'm not, that's not, what I'm, then it's like, okay, like, she's cool and I like her, and I'm staring at her like she's some fucking mermaid, but at the same time, like, she ain't, it's not gonna be that casual shit. So then it doesn't go too far, and I get it. Like, at first I used to feel some type of way, like, oh, what happened? But then you gotta be like, well, sis, like, he's not, that's not what he's into. Like, men have needs, as they say, right? So obviously he's not gonna stick that shit through. He's just not. I get it. Like, I guess if I was an actively sexual man and I had an option between, oh, this girl, she cool and all that, but she ain't putting out, and there's people over here that's like putting out, and then we can just be casual and just keep it pushing, keep it moving. I'm probably gonna side with that, because if I'm not looking to get to know a person and establish it and not make it all about that, then I'm probably not gonna go with. I wouldn't go on my end. I guess if I'm looking at it from that perspective, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't. I guess that would make sense. So I can't be too mad at it. It is what it is. Like, that's what they want. They have a right to that. So, but yeah. So it makes it a little bit challenging, a little bit difficult. So yeah. And it's not even to say, because dudes is slick. Okay, I don't know about the women, like, same sex situations. I don't know how they are, but men are slick. Like, you could tell, like, because you could find that one that be like, oh, you abstaining for sex? Oh, okay. I'll stick it out and I'll pretend like I'm into you, and, like, we could, and then probably just to, like, I know there's some men out there that will do that shit. There's some that have that resilience to stick it out just to get enough of what they want, and then, like, okay, and then it just falls flat, or they just dip out. But like I said, I told Spirit, like, hey, mm-mm, we ain't falling for that, because that's that's a trap too sometimes. Like, don't think that they ain't some out there that's like, I'll wait, I'm gonna play the game until I get what I want. There's some that will do that. But yeah, Spirit usually removes people quickly, so I don't even have the opportunity to even see what that's about. It's a fucking mess. I tell you, it's a mess. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel abstinence, and some people call it celibacy, but celibacy is like you're kind of vowing that you're not gonna have any romantic relationships and no sex ever, and that's not what I'm saying. So abstinence is like you're just abstaining from something. So I don't look at it as kind of like this moral thing. I mean, to an extent, yes. Um, from a standpoint of like, I'm not giving myself away to everybody because I don't feel like they deserve it. So most of it is to also keep a sober mind too, because I feel like if I'm indulging in sex with people, especially people that their energies could be like all fucked up and shit, or just they don't have good intentions, or they're sleeping with multiple people, like, I don't need that. And then sex clouds our judgment. So if you don't have like a relationship with someone that you really like, you have an established trust with each other, they're not a safe space for you. It's not a level of deeper intimacy beyond sex. Um, you're just having sex with that person, and it's like your judgment about them is gonna be all fucked up. So that's why I don't believe in casual sex. And some people can get up and just walk away like nothing ever happened, but I don't feel like you're just walking away. Like it might not affect you on the level of emotionalness, like where you're all emotional or you're twisted up. But there's always that one that will fuck you up. I'm telling you, like it's always that one. Like there's been instances where I could have a situation with someone in the past, like where I was active, um, where I could just do it and just be like, whatever, and never talk to him again. And that's not good. I'm not saying that it's good, but I've done it and not feel anything. And be like, oh, whatever. But then there will be that one that's like, oh, you think it's just casual, and then you start getting attachments for whatever reason, and you're not thinking clear. You know what I mean? Or you could be in a relationship with the wrong person, and sex is the established bond, so that's all you have. I've been in that situation before too, and you're not clear. You're like, I can't fucking stand you, but like that's not cool. So like I look at it as like, for me, I'm avoiding physical issues. I'm avoiding emotional, mental issues, attachments, um, and I get to have my peace and my sanity. Like that's it's a pride thing too. Like you know, not every man could say that he's getting it or he's had it or he's experienced. Like that's not for you. Like you know what I mean. So no, until I feel like I'm in that connection where I have that safe space, and then that's different. So it's different because I just don't see sex like that. Like I just don't get it. Like I understand because like sex can be wonderful and things like that, but in hindsight, it's like when I look back, I'm just like I can do without it until I'm with the person that I have that safe space with, and I can really trust with my entire being, like not just sexually. Like it's not like, oh, he clean or he ain't having sex, and like no, it's not that per se. It's more like you as an individual, a person. Like you're not getting all parts of me. Like you're not getting me all emotionally either. Like not just sexually and physically. Like you're not going to just get all of me. Like I reserve parts of myself, as everyone should. I feel, you know, not everybody deserves those sacred parts of you, and it has to be an equal exchange. Like what the fuck do I look like giving you some, and you can't even like show up on time for a date where your fucking communication sucks. You treat me like an option. Like, why? What the fuck do I look like getting down on my knees or opening my legs to you? Like, what do I look like? Like, that's how I look at it now. Like, back then, maybe not, because I was looking at the wrong things. But now it's just like, I don't give a fuck who you are, what you got, where you been, this, that. I don't give a fuck who wants you. I don't, like, no. Like, I just don't, like, no. Mm-mm. Child, Lord, no, I ain't doing it. I understand now why sex workers say like women they like that give it up for free are dumb. I get it because it's like you can't really put a price on your yoni, your nani, your whatever. You can't put a price on that. And men too, like y'all out here moving crazy, and some of y'all plugging into certain sockets is sucking you dry. I'm just saying. But women, like you can't put a price on that. But if you're going to give it away, like hold it to some type of fucking standard. I'm not saying like sell your pussy. And I'm not shaming anybody that does per se, but it's like at least like you putting a price on it. And you're not just giving it to somebody that's not doing anything for you. And I'm not just talking about financially. Like he's dogging you out. He treats you like an option. And I say this too, like looking back, just how people operate. Men don't care how, like, if I don't care if that man tell you you suck, you know what, the best. He's taking it all from the girl that he's teaching how to do it, the one that's okay at it, one that's probably just as good as you. He open to it all. So don't think for a second like, oh, my sex game got to be good or I got to be beautiful. You know how many beautiful, like, go on Instagram right now. Like Tumblr, I feel like was the the genesis of the baddie. They ushered in the baddies that you don't see every day, and it's like, oh my god, like girls like this. There's girls out here that look like that, like, and there's men out here that look like that. Like, I used to be like hella insecure. I get on Tumblr, I'm like, fuck these, like these bitches look like archangels that fell from the sky or some shit. Like, I didn't know women like this existed. Like, and you go on Tumblr or you go on Instagram, like there's beautiful women every fucking where. So to think that, oh, I gotta be the baddest and I gotta be like, you're chasing nothing. You're running, but you ain't going nowhere because that comes a dime a dozen. It comes a dime a dozen. The thing that's really going to capture a person's heart is things that you can't buy, things that you can't put on and take off, things that really you can't learn or teach or be taught. Really, it's just in you. It's what's inside of you, and that's something that I had to get in my spirit too. Like, you can be freaky as you want to be in the bed, and that man could love it, but that's not gonna make him faithful to you. It's just another, like, porn that he can, like, a porn option. Like, okay, I could watch this one and I could watch that one and this one and that one, and they might do a little something. This one might be good at doing, whatever this and doing that, but it's not gonna be like, I'm only gonna watch this one video. And some people might like that might not be a good analogy because niggas, they like certain stuff. Yeah. Maybe they have favorite porn stars. I don't know, but like that's not enough. You know what I mean? Like, for a person, like it has to be something more. So, you're not valued. It's like it tears on your self esteem when you go out and you think getting a BBL or going out and getting your hair done or getting a tan or whatever the fuck people do, right? To feel more beautiful or to appease another person. You go out and you do all of that, and this person still treats you like shit, or you're, trying to learn how to give the best head or how to ride for 20 minutes and do some techniques and do some splits and some tricks, and this person's still cheating on you, and it wears on your self-esteem because it's not about you. It's not anything that you're doing wrong or you're not doing enough of. You're with the wrong motherfucker. They don't appreciate you. They don't respect you. So that's why I say, like, you turn yourself upside down trying to, like, appeal and appease. And yeah, it might be an ego boost to hear a man be like, "Oh, you so bad," or "Oh, you the best at it," and like it's ego boost. But then at the end of the day, it takes you down a notch when this person is still treating you like dumpster trash, or they're cheating on you with somebody else. They don't respect you. They don't respect the other people that they're messing around with. So it's like it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of energy. And some people are like, oh, it's not that deep. It's just sex. I don't care. I just want mine and all that. Okay, bitch, we'll get yours. Like, cool. But you do what you want with yourself. But like I said, like, for me personally, I just don't agree. Like, I wouldn't put myself in that position ever again in life because I see it different. And if I have to perform for you sexually, emotionally, whatever else, in order for you to treat me like something, I'm playing a sport that I'm never gonna win. I'm never gonna win. So why? Like, I need to choose another profession. I need to get in a league where, like, I'm gonna win, like with someone that appreciates what I have and who I am. Like, as whether I add on or I take away something, but he loves the core of me. Like, that's it. So that's who's worthy of that. Not somebody that's just like, oh, you just another one. Like, no, you're not worthy of nothing, of anything of depth that I have to offer. and that includes my yoni space, because that's my womb space as well. There's like there's a lot that goes into that as well. Like I'm just not wasting it on you. Like I'm not just a space to just bust a nut. You know what I mean? Like it's not to get too raw and too cool, like too much. But I don't see sex like that. And some people just, oh well, you just gotta be a goddess, and like you're stupid. Like what's the goddess in that where you just giving your goods to somebody that deserves scraps? Like you sound stupid. I can't stand them fake woke heifers like that try to make, and men too, that try to make sex like this thing of, oh, it's a spiritual act and it's sacred and you're yoni, you're not supposed to store up all of that energy. Like shut the fuck up. Like I could I could express that energy in some kind of way, or it can be utilized some other way. Like it don't gotta be with you. Like that's just a way to be like I'm a like you. I just want to just spread it open. I just want to bust it wide open just because, and because I feel like it, and somebody's good looking, or somebody got some good dick. So I just want to just bust it open, or I want to hit as many, you know, as I want. That's all that is. That's why I don't listen to them. Like y'all need to shut up. I had somebody. I don't know if I can call this person. Well, no, we ain't. You know, we haven't even spoken in a long time, so I wouldn't even equate this person as a friend. But try to tell me like, oh, it's nothing to take a spiritual bath to wash it off. If you do get some type of like, if you get spiritual attachment, she said there's nothing to take a spiritual bath. And I'm thinking to myself like, some shit ain't just taking a spiritual bath. And why go through? If I gotta take a spiritual bath after have sex with somebody, that's like saying this is how stupid. And I have to call it what it is. Like unless it was a spirit speaking through her, it's stupid as fuck. And I don't care. It is what it is. Um, that's like saying there's a bed with bed bugs in it and I can get in it as long as after that I take a bath to get the fucking fleas off of me or the whatever, the bug bites and all that. That's how stupid that shit sounded to me when she said that. And I sat there for a second. I was like, not that I was pondering and going, oh, yeah, I should fuck him. Maybe I should. I sat there and I said, one, what is she sending me? One, I'm not doing that because he doesn't deserve it. He disrespected my time, so that checks that off. That's one reason why he's never getting it. And then two, why the fuck would I take a spiritual bath after I have sex with someone? Why would I want to? Why would I have to do that? That's fucking stupid. That's like go into a fucking vampire bar party and wear your neck out, put perfume and fucking honey and shit all on it or something. I don't know, whatever the fuck. Just walk around with your chest out and your neck pulsating in front of a whole bunch of vampires and then come out and try to extract the shit out of it. Like, get the blood out. I've been bit. Somebody help me. Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, that's what that sound like to me. Like, it just sounds dumb. Just as much as that analogy about the vampires, I couldn't think of nothing else. But what the fuck? Like, stupid. That's some crazy shit. I couldn't believe when she said it. When she actually, I might be talking a little too much, but it is what it is. After that, that was one of the things that gave me a clear indication because I was like, this. I don't feel like this bitch is really my friend. She says that she loves me and she's my sister, but there's something that just ain't sitting where like all these other things that were red flags. When she said that, I was like, this bitch is not my friend. Because she knows where my position is. She knows how I feel about, you know, giving away my body and why I'm choosing to do what I did. So when she said that, I'm like, this bitch is not my friend. She's on something. So no, that was probably the dumbest advice next to something my mom said to me, like all in that same year. And I was like, why am I listening to y'all? Why am I listening to y'all? Like, no, like, that's just not good advice at all. And I'm not taking it. So I just don't see the point. Again, it goes back to, well, at least I have a man, or oh, at least she look good. Like, you're fucking stupid. Like, you're suffering for what? Just to say you have someone when you could actually have something that's for you, rather than settling for what isn't. Like, why go through all of that? Why work hard or smarter, or work be smart and instead of work harder? Like, I don't know what people want. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But you know what I learned? This is another thing that work taught me. There's this, I don't know what, I think she's Japanese, but there's this lady that I work with. She's a elder Asian woman, and she was like training me on how to make this certain product thing, like how to, you know, it's handiwork involved. I had to use drills and shit. Like, they got me over here like fucking Bob the Builder. So, Foxy, what do you want over here yawning? Y'all hear her? What do you want, Foxy? But yeah, she was like, you have to work. You have to be slow. You have to be patient. Don't rush because you want a nice product. And that always out. She taught me to actually be, because I work fast. And sometimes when you move too fast, you miss details or you like mess things up. And I was um I was making the product and I accidentally forgot to put staples around it first before I started sealing it, and I had to go back and unscrew everything and go back in and redo it, and it was time consuming. So she was like, next time just go slow, no rush, you're still learning. That's what she's like telling me, just go slow, take your time, because it was gonna be a nice product. Like, take your time. And I get it, like, because I was moving quick, like fast, and we think, oh, I'm doing it, I'm producing fast, but it pays to move at a pace, like a certain pace, or it's steady and it's a flow. It's no rushing, it's no forcing. It's like, take your time, and I get it now. Like, oh, my pleasure, my pleasure, Venus. Yeah. Like, we slow down. Like, there's the rush when you're rushing things. Like, when you're trying to like force and push and rush, it's not going to, it's just not it. It's not going to work. It's not. So people are in a rush, and that can go with anything in life, not just romance, partnerships, but like anytime you try to push or rush yourself into something or a process, like, it's not going to flow in the way that it's supposed to. It can be far more successful if you just take your time. You're going to miss things, you're going to miss steps, you're going to miss experiences, you're going to miss the lesson. You're not present when you're just in a rush. And when you're in a rush, you're bound to like get caught up in something, or, but we live and we learn. So there's no rushing like your journey. Like, as long as you are present and you're living and just being, you can't mess things up. You can't. So, um, yeah, you can't lose when you're at the pace that you're supposed to. Like, and that's another thing too, like, about our spiritual journey, when we try to measure it up to a standard that hasn't really been placed, like, that's not really measured personally for us. It may be measured as a societal standard or norm, or somebody that, is not in control of your life tells you, like, you should be here by 30, or you should have graduated college, and you should be married, you should have kids, and oh, you're 60, you shouldn't be going back to college. And it's uh-uh. Your pace, your journey. It's easier said than done. I told my sis, Tori this. I told her this maybe like a couple of weeks ago because I was like having a moment, and this was back in Scorpio season where I was like, I feel like I'm behind in comparison to some of my family members where we're all around the same age, like all the grandkids. I feel like, you know, one of my family members, like she has, her and her baby daddy, they have their kids, they have a nice place, and, they both, have a 9 to 5 and they have a car. And I'm like, I'm at this place where I feel like I'm starting over. I'm starting from scratch, and I feel like I'm still just not at that place. And like, I still not, I don't have that family dynamic that I want yet. And I feel like I'm such and such years old. I should be here by now. I should be doing this. And I didn't complete school. I feel like I felt like I was like beating myself up, and I'm just like, I had to tell myself, like, Chanoa, your journey is, you can't measure your journey, even if other people might look at it and be like, Chanoa's behind, or Chanoa's doing, like, what is she doing? Like, she's doing this over here, but that's not stable, or that's not, as successful as she's wanting it to be, or she's still, building and doing this, and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. Like, I was thinking from that perspective, and again, I'm thinking about what other people think, but then I started to gaslight myself, but at the same time, kind of check myself where I said, I want to make sure that I'm not telling myself it's my journey and I go at the pace that I'm supposed to as an excuse to just be where I'm at and not progress. Because I feel like I could feel like I'm progressing, or I could feel like I'm making strides to like better myself, or it's just, certain things are divinely timed and I can't control every aspect of my life and when things happen and if they'll even happen. Because this is another thing that I told myself. And I said to God, I said, if it be that I'm not meant to be in a relationship ever again in this lifetime, please allow me to just be happy with my life as it is, and be as it is, not like just being stagnant, but be happy with just it being me, and be happy with being with my daughter. And when she's on doing her own life, that I will still be happy and content with where whatever I'm doing in life. If it be that I'm not meant to be in a relationship, that's my only thing. I said, God, if it's not meant, I pray to be happy, genuinely happy, just being single for the rest of my life, and not be feeling like, okay, I'm good, I'm happy to an extent, but I feel like there's something that's still missing. Like, I don't want to feel that throughout life. Like, if that's not meant for me, because that's a thing that I feel like is kind of uncertain. Is like, we can ask for things from the universe and desire it, but that doesn't always mean that we're going to get everything that we ask for. But I don't believe that if there's something in your heart that you desire, that God is going to withhold it from you. If it's a pure, true hearted desire and it's not coming from an ill place or coming from a wounded place, the Spirit won't grant it to you if it's for you, if it's good for you, if it's healthy. Yeah. Yeah, it's not the most, yeah, I feel you on that. Like, and that's the thing, when you decide a path to kind of go against the grain and not the 9 to 5, like, yeah, you might see some people that have success with some of the things that you're doing. Like, one of my friends with her art, she says all the time, like, this content creation and this social media shit is hard. Like, there's people getting, thousands of likes, hundreds of thousands of likes on their pictures and their artwork, and I'm still struggling. And I was like, the social media thing is like one of those things that I feel it's not a fair game for everyone. I don't believe it's not a matter of you're not good enough or you're lame or you're whack. It's just a numbers game. It's really like, it's not fair. It's not adjusted in a fair way. So you can't look at it from that perspective. So I don't even know what I was like getting at. But yeah, like, I told myself this, like, you know what, like, are you saying that your journey is your journey because you're kind of making an excuse for where you are? And I wanted to check myself with that. Like, I have those moments where I have to check myself, of course, and then there's times where it can be Sometimes me just kind of like gaslighting myself a little bit, bullying myself into a corner. So I had to kind of like filter through that and discern like what was the angle that I was coming from. But it really still it boils down to, because I know that I'm not just, I know I've had to make sacrifices. I've had to do things, um, that made me uncomfortable, as far as like getting me out of my comfort zone and pushing myself, that I had to do that. I had to, so that I'm not in a stuck situation, where, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just not doing. Like, there's times where I push myself where I feel like, okay, maybe I should, switch this up about, what I'm doing, and create this and create more, or, don't be shy, take leaps of faith, like, post this or start this. And I've done that. Like, I've been on a resilient journey, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not easy, it's not fun all the time. But when I look back at that question that I asked myself, and my friend Tori was like, she helped put it into perspective. She was like, that speaks a lot about you, that you can ask yourself that question. Like, am I telling myself that where I'm at right now is because this is where I'm supposed to be and it's my personal journey, or am I making an excuse for myself to be where I'm at? So what it boils down to is like, no, you've made strides. Like, you're not just laying down and just allowing things to be. Like, you're actually picking yourself up. And I've had to. So that's one thing. Like, it's always healthy to ask those questions. I feel like, you know what I mean? Yes, it's your own personal journey, but are you genuinely participating in your journey? Even when it's like moments where it's tough, or moments where you don't have the support of those that you want to have support from. Because it's not, I'll speak for myself. It's not so much that I don't have the support, like people that pour into me and speak life into me, but I feel like I'm looking at the people that I want to that are not, like certain family members, or I just don't feel that. And I still kind of compare where I'm at in relations to what I deem as normal. Like, okay, this family member, they have this and they're doing this. Like, this is the status quo. This is the normal path. But I'm not doing that. I'm not in that bracket. So I get it. Like, but that is, again, comparing your path to someone else's path. That's someone else's path. Like, it's not yours. And not every person that's, in college or has been to college is necessarily happy or doing what they love, or not every person that is in a relationship is always happy, if that. Like, and they might covet what you have. Like, they might be like, oh, this person is, they're single, they get to do what they want, they get to get up and go and travel, or this person has their own business, or this person is a creative, they're creating, their art pieces and they're doing what they want to do. Or, like, who's to say that you don't have that? Because we're always going to covet what each other has, until you get to a place where it's like, it's okay to be me and be what and have what I have. Because you could be looking to the next person. They may not covet what you have, but they could be coveting something else that someone else has. You know what I mean? Like, we're looking at one focus, one angle, and going, oh, this person, because they have what you seemingly want, or they seemingly seem happy with the things that you want, right? Or that you would also like to experience or have. So then you're measuring that, and you don't really even know the full story, right? And they're looking at somebody else going, oh, but they have this car though. Oh, but they taking these trips though. It's always that domino, or that, I don't know, ping pong effect. Yeah, I hear that too all the time. Like, oh, like people, like women do that all the time. Like, oh, your butt is so big, or oh, your breasts are so big. I wish my titties were big. And some people be like, girl, you can have some of these. And some people like, you can have some of these. some of these hips. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we do that. It's self acceptance, and that's another thing. Like all year, that's something that I've been working on. Like, God, I want to be completely comfortable with and self identify fully with who I'm called and made to be. Like, fully just be in that goddess energy where I know, like, I'm me, and you don't feel no type of way like about yourself. That you can coexist in this world where people are their authentic self and you're your authentic self, and you don't feel the need to dim your light or start shaming yourself or picking yourself apart. That God made me the way that I am for a specific reason. Like, we're supposed to be unique. And when they say we're created in God's image is not just one image. God is multifaceted. God is not just this one thing, this big Greek man God in the sky that they depict him to be, or them to be, they to be. This God is a multifaceted essence, energy. You can't even say what the essence of the divine, the universe, source God is. So like us, we are that image of God. We're multifaceted. We're unique. We're different. We come in different forms. That's the 3D. I was about to say the M word because the last time I said the M word ending with the X, bots came from my channel. Like, YouTube does not like that word for whatever reason, and that just lets you know like there's something off. But anyway, yeah, that's the 3D standard of this is beauty and this is ugly and this is success and this is failure. This is that. God is multifaceted, and so are we. We are made in God's image. You cannot put us in a box. We can we can be and look like multi things. So, but I'm gonna leave it at that, y'all. I didn't know I was on here that long. This is such a long live. I appreciate y'all though. Thank you for chilling with me, vibing with me. It's now Saturday, Saturn day. It's no longer Venus Day, no longer Friday. It's 2:26 a.m. here, by the way. So I don't know where y'all are in the world or whenever you watch this. It could be a completely different time zone, time, day of the week, but I'll probably do like a all I said I was gonna do that last week, so I'll do it today. I'll do it later. I feel good right now. My teeth don't hurt. I'm good. So as long as I make sure I take my Tylenol, get my rest, get my water, I should be good. I'll probably do an all 12 zodiac sign love read tomorrow, or just an overall. Hey Rosie, night, night Pico, night Venus. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of y'all night, day, your evening, your morning, and I'll catch you guys later today, most likely, for a live. We'll see. I'm not gonna make no promises, but most likely we will. So I'll see y'all later. Much love as always. Peace.